2018 has been a wild, up and down roller coaster of a year for gaming. Some of it good, some of it bad, but today, I bring you my top 5 games of 2018. When I first saw Dead Cells, I knew I was going to be hooked. It combined two of my favorite genres, Metroidvania and roguelikes, with Souls-like combat sprinkled over top. The game has a great art style that suckers players in before the difficulty kicks in and tears you a new one. Dead Cells is not easy, and it expects you to figure out exactly what your character is capable of if you want to make any kind of progress. The amount and variety of weapons and abilities available gives you a bunch of different ways to tackle the tough road ahead, with almost every build having a fair shot at making it to the end. Speaking of which, I have to admit, I still haven't managed to make it to the end myself. In fact, I feel like I've barely scratched the surface of Dead Cells. Despite that, it still stands tall as a top contender in both the Metroidvania and roguelike genres. One day I will manage to conquer the world of Dead Cells, but until then, I'm more than happy dodge rolling and fighting my way through the incredibly rough road ahead of me. It's hard to find something to say about the latest Smash game that isn't already obvious to anyone remotely interested in the series. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate brings back every single character that has ever appeared in the series, alongside a handful of new characters as well. The game is just packed with content, with a seemingly endless list of music, stages, and characters for players to unlock. While we still aren't getting another story-heavy single-player experience like the Subspace Emissary, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's Spirit Mode is a more than adequate replacement. With a huge map to explore and tons of different challenges to tackle, players are sure to have plenty to keep them busy while they unlock character after character. The gameplay is exactly what you'd expect from a Smash game, and the GameCube controller support makes the game fit right in with the series' most well-regarded entry, Melee. Playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate online is a blast, of course, even if players sometimes have to deal with varying levels of lag. Any small flaws or complaints I have with the game are easily overshadowed by the sheer amount of love and dedication poured into it. What else can I say? Sakurai absolutely nailed it with what feels like the last Smash game we're gonna need for quite some time. Monster Hunter is a series I've always wanted to be a fan of. The idea of hunting these awesome looking monsters and turning them into stylish and powerful weapons and armor always sounded incredible. However, the steep learning curve and antiquated systems and mechanics have always served as an impenetrable brick wall, keeping me from ever getting too invested in the series. This all changed with Monster Hunter World, which tears down that wall and replaces it with a 4-lane interstate, allowing for a flood of new players to finally get into the series. While the story is mostly just background noise for me, the real enjoyment of this game comes from the basic gameplay loop. Pick a quest or a monster you want to go after, enter one of the many varied and fantastic areas with no loading into separate zones, track, study, and eventually slay the monster, carve up his remains, and use your loot to craft better looking and performing equipment. Monster Hunter World absolutely nails this gameplay loop, making it never feel like too much of a grind, even when you're just hunting the same monster over and over, hoping for that one rare drop. Between the different weapon styles to choose from, the vast number of armor and weapon sets to craft, the varied monsters to hunt, side quests to complete, and new events and expansions on the horizon, Monster Hunter World brings something to the table for both new fans and series veterans. When I first heard that Arc System Works was developing a new Dragon Ball fighting game, I have to admit I wasn't too excited. There have been a lot of Dragon Ball fighting games in the past, and they've all ranged in quality from bottom tier entries like Final Bout to okay for a Dragon Ball game like the Xenoverse series. I'll also admit that I'm not a huge fan of Arc System Works either. The BlazBlue games simply aren't my type of fighting game. However, from the first trailer, it was obvious they had something truly unique with FighterZ. The art style for this game fits the source material so perfectly. Whether you're just standing still or in the middle of a combo, it looks like it was ripped straight from the anime. The game also eases in people new to fighting games with the auto combo system. Just by mashing a single button, any player can dish out a simplistic but effective combo with every fighter. Once you get the hang of that, the game eases you into trying different moves to string together your own combos by limiting each character to only a few special moves and a couple of supers. This all works together to create one of the most engaging systems for both newcomers and fighting game vets alike. Finally, Dragon Ball fans have a game that isn't just good by Dragon Ball standards, but one that stands out as a truly incredible fighting game. Red Dead Redemption was one of my favorite games of all time, and I've been waiting for what feels like an eternity for the sequel. I even purchased an Xbox One just so I would be able to play this game as soon as it came out, instead of waiting for the inevitable PC port. I started to get worried that my internal hype might raise expectations too high, but I was proven wrong from the moment I stepped foot into the shoes of Arthur Morgan. Red Dead Redemption 2 takes all the elements from the first game and turns them up to 11. The amount of attention to detail is insane, and the result, at least for me, is one of the first video game worlds that truly feels real and lived in. While the game can be incredibly slow, it makes each action you take feel real, like it's something you're actually doing instead of the character doing a thing because you pressed a button. While I've yet to make my way to the end of the story as of this recording, so far it's yet to disappoint. Arthur Morgan is a very different type of protagonist than John Marston was, and it makes for an interesting and refreshing point of view for the death of the Old West. Even if the story doesn't turn out to match up to the tearjerker of a finale of the first game, Red Dead Redemption 2 is just too amazing a sequel to pass up. Now, if and you'll excuse me, I'm off to fight me some O'Driscolls.